Hey everyone, welcome back. Hope you're having a fantastic day so far. So a Trump bump Social Security cost of living adjustment increase is going to be announced very soon. Plus, are these increases actually keeping up with the needs of Social Security recipients? In today's video, we are going to be covering everything that you need to know. But before we go ahead and dive into it for today, if you would like to receive up to $200 in free stock or $200 in free cash, in a pinned comment below, I will be leaving a link to Robinhood. All you have to do is once you click on that link is just sign up for a free account and then simply link your bank account. You do not even have to make an opening deposit. At that point in time, Robinhood will be sending you one free stock worth all the way up to $200. And if you'd really just have the cash, all you have to do is once you receive the free stock is just sell it for what it's worth and then transfer the cash value right back to your bank account. Okay, so diving right into for today. So very soon, a Trump bump Social Security increase is going to be announced, and we do have projections out there so far what that could be. In today's video, we're going to be covering everything that you pretty much need to know. And once again, this is going to be officially announced next month in October. So according to the Motley Fool, in May, the average monthly retired worker benefit crested $2,000 for the first time in Social Security's storied history. While this is a relatively modest monthly sum, it's proven vital to helping retirees cover their expenses. For nearly a quarter of a century, national pollster Gallup has surveyed retirees to determine how important Social Security income is to their financial well-being. Based on the responses, between 80% and 90% of retirees rely on this leading social program to make ends meet. Now, of course, some people rely on their Social Security benefits more than others, but obviously, according to polling, if we just look at what people are saying about Social Security, obviously we can't afford cuts to take place. And at a time where these cost of living adjustments aren't actually keeping up with inflation as they should, it's putting people further and further behind and putting more of a financial strain on their lives. Now, the article here goes on to say that with nearly 70 million people in July receiving a traditional Social Security benefit, including more than 53 million retired workers, it should come as no surprise that the annual cost of living adjustment announcement from the Social Security Administration in October is the most anticipated reveal of the year. However, the 2026 COLA reveal should be unique, as it's a vital certainty to be influenced by President Donald Trump's tariff and trade policy. In other words, beneficiaries can expect a Trump bump come January. So obviously, pretty much every single year, other than a few years here and there, maybe less than 10% of the time, there is no cost of living adjustment. That of course means that there is no inflation taking place. Usually on a year-to-year basis, we're seeing inflation of anywhere between 2 to 3%. That is the average. Right around 2.5% is the annual inflation rate, and then also that's like the kind of the average cost of living adjustment that is usually handed out. So once again, this year it is looking like it's going to be right around 2.5%, perhaps even above that. However, projections at the beginning of this year, whenever Trump came into office, they thought inflation was actually going to go a little bit lower because 2.5% was the cost of living adjustment for this year in 2025. With Trump coming into office, a lot of experts and economists have projected with his policies that we might actually have inflation go downwards, and we'll be looking at like a cost of living adjustment in 2026 of right around 2% instead of 2.5% or higher. But economists are now saying that because of the tariff policies implemented by Trump and his administration, we're now going to be seeing higher inflation. We have been seeing higher inflation, and that's why also the 2026 COLA is going to be much higher than expected. Now they go on here to say that if Social Security's 2026 raise were to reach at least 2.5%, it would mark the first time this century that 5 consecutive COLAs have met or surpassed this mark. Based on 2 independent estimates, the program is on the verge of making history. Following the release of the July inflation report from the BLS, nonpartisan senior advocacy group, the Senior Citizens League, increased its 2026 COLA forecast by 0.1% to 2.7%, Meanwhile, independent Social Security and Medicare policy analyst Mary Johnson, who retired from TSCL in 2024, kept her COLA estimate unchanged from the previous month at a now matching 2.7%. Now, Social Security COLA estimates for TSCL and Johnson have both risen throughout the year due to the expected modest inflationary impact of President Trump's tariff and trade policy. So again, we have the Motley Fool, TSCL, and Mary Johnson saying that we also have inflation now rising because of the tariff impacts that the Trump administration is causing. Now, we actually had some economists believing that these tariffs have been taking place that have been implemented would actually cause inflation to go even higher, above 3 or even 4%. So far, they have not risen that much, but obviously at the beginning of this year, again, we were looking at like 2% for the cost of living adjustment in 2026. Now we're looking at 2.7%. So it's looking like, probably lowest case scenario, maybe 2.5%. Highest case scenario, perhaps it could go all the way up to 2.8%, which is going to be higher than what we received for 2025. Now, they also say here that while Social Security's COLAs won't be set in stone until October 15th, it seems all but certain that Trump's tariff policy will have provided a boost to the final figure. And then as far as how much Social Security checks are forecast to decline, in 2026, they say that if the cost of living adjustment does end up being 2.7%, and if TSCL and Johnson prove accurate with their respective forecasts of a 2.7% COLA in 2026, what that's going to mean for the average retired beneficiary receiving right now right around $2,000 per month, that means for them it is going to climb by $54 per month next year. Meanwhile, the average worker with disabilities and survivor beneficiary would each see their monthly check rise by approximately $43 per month in 2026. With that said, leave your thoughts and comments below. What would you think about that type of increase next year in 2026? Would you be satisfied with that, or would that not be enough? Leave your thoughts and comments below. Now, another thing, of course, to keep in mind is that the Medicare Part B premiums are also going to be rising next year in 2026 as well. Right now, the projections are right around $21.50 more per month next year in 2026. That, of course, is also going to impact the cost of living adjustment increase, because that's going to cut into whatever your increase is going to be, which, of course, leads us to our next subject. This article here, also from the Motley Fool, are Social Security benefits actually keeping up with what retirees and other Social Security recipients actually need? They see here that, unfortunately, a new study from Nationwide Financial shows that benefits may actually be losing ground, and retirees have had to make big cutbacks because of it. Here's what the study shows, along with some details about why many retirees are struggling with too little retirement income. So first off, retirees say their benefits are falling short. So according to the Nationwide Financial Research, 52% of Social Security benefit recipients say they have had to cut back on their discretionary spending as a result of the fact that increases in living costs are outpacing Social Security benefit increases. In other words, the annual Social Security COLA is not doing its job. Retirees are seeing the value of their benefits fall, and it's causing a serious financial strain. So, for example, it's not just cutting back on discretionary spending either. Nationwide Financial highlighted changes other seniors are making, including reducing spending on essentials, including groceries and medications. 31% of people are doing that. Leave your thoughts and comments below. Are you also trying to reduce your spending on essentials like groceries and medications? Also, relying more on savings or retirement plans to cover costs instead of Social Security. That's at 29%. Are you also doing that? Leave your thoughts and comments below. Downsizing their living situations, maybe getting a smaller house, a smaller apartment that's going to be a little bit less costly, or even taking on part-time work or looking for other ways to increase their income. So perhaps before they were relying completely on Social Security to make ends meet, now they're actually having to go back to get a part-time job to make a few $100s extra every single week just to make ends meet. Leave your thoughts and comments below. Are you using any of those things that you can relate with? Are you reducing your spending on essentials like groceries or medications? Are you having to go back to get a part-time job? Leave your thoughts and comments below. But with that said, that's all I have for today's video. And as always, I will see you in the next one.